Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Dark and Creepy. All stories are written and narrated by me, MC Allen. It has been 2 days since I posted the last part of this, and I wish I could go back and delete this entire thing. It was a mistake to ever think about posting it, and I knew that there would be consequences from doing so, but I thought they would have happened to me. I told all of you that I was going to stay the night with Manuel, and I did, trying to see if whatever it was would stay away, because there was more than one person. But that was a grave mistake, and I'd rather die than live with this guilt on my shoulders. When I went to Manuel's house, I slept on the couch, because he's not used to guests, so only has one bed, and I was not about to sleep beside him. He made me leave my laptop and phone back at my own house because he wanted to try and keep that thing from coming after me the best he could. His house was an old mobile home trailer that had been there so long that there was no way it could be moved again without some major repairs. Anyway, we hung out and I felt like a high schooler again as we watched movies and ate junk food. I dozed off to sleep during one of the later movies, and Manuel left me on the couch as he went to sleep in his own bed. Hours go by, and I soon can hear something very lightly brushing the side of the trailer house. My head bobbed up from the couch, and I swiftly grabbed a kitchen knife and slowly gazed out the window. In the darkness, I saw two yellow eyes stare at me. My heart kicked into overdrive as it came closer to the mobile home, and its eyes seemed to drop with every step, until whatever it was stepped into the light that Manuel had left on outside. It was just a black cat, and I blew a sigh of relief until I remembered that no one had a cat that lived in the town. At least not since the old woman had died, and her cat was found hairless on the floor in her home that she was dragged out of, as if something had skinned it. I kept my eyes on the cat, while trying my best to avoid its gaze. Just barely peeking through the side of the window, I saw the cat's skin begin to tear apart as it grew larger in size, an undescribable hideousness. Its skin was ragged and torn, and it was no longer a cat, but an eerie-looking man hunched over on all fours. I watched in horror as he crawled to Manuel's bedroom window, and it sounded like it was clacking its teeth together. I jumped back from the window as its head darted to where I was watching it from. I wanted to warn Manuel, but I felt like if I did, we would both die. So I ran to a nearby closet and hid in the back of it, covering myself with the jackets and shirts that dangled down from their hangers. From outside, I could hear it breaking the lock to the window, probably the same way it broke mine. Soon, I heard the creak of the window as it slowly opened, and I was trying my best to not think about it. I tried to think about my family members, friends, and the old high school glory days as its crawling creaked the old fake wooden floor. I could hear its edge closer to where I was, with its sniffing and the occasional snort. It started to make a sound from the back of its throat that sounded like nothing I've ever heard before and since. My body shook due to how aggressive the sound waves coming from it were. The closet door began to slowly creak open, and I was on the verge of crying, wishing I never wrote those posts. It started to inhumanly chuckle as it could sense my fear, while its disfigured hand grabbed my ankle with such a powerful grip, my bone felt like it could snap at any moment. It was then that Manuel slammed open his bedroom door with a rifle in his hand. "Go back to the pits of hell!" he screamed as he fired off rounds into the side of it. It let go of my ankle as its head twisted around 360 degrees to where Manuel stood at his bedroom door. It sat there, gazing at him as he fired shot after shot into it, but it never moved. Manuel soon ran out of ammunition, and the thing just sat there, staring him down. It was as if they were in a staring contest. Manuel started to turn around to grab his handheld pistol, and that's when it pounced on him with such swiftness, it was as if it teleported. "Run! Forget me!" Manuel screamed at me as the thing began to dig its disfigured fingers into Manuel's back, as smooth as butter. I threw the knife at it as I ran for the door, but it seemed as if it didn't care for me anymore. As soon as I got out of the mobile home, I didn't know what to do, so I hopped into my car and started the engine, and I swerved onto the road, driving as fast as I could, until I saw the Jeffries home off to the side, and pulled up into their driveway, screaming, calling for them to come out. But then I remembered that they wouldn't respond to that, so I banged on their door. Mr. Jeffrey opened it with one hand and held a shotgun in the other. I explained to him everything that went down and told him that we needed to go back and help Manuel. But he took his hand and placed it on my shoulder and said somberly, "It's no use. He's already gone by now." I didn't know how to respond, because he was my best friend, and if Mr. Jeffrey wasn't going to help me, I was going to have to save him all by myself. But when I got back to Manuel's mobile home, there was no sign of him, or the beast. All that was left was a blood trail leading into the woods. I was about to follow it, but then I thought that if I went and got myself killed, he would have died in vain for trying to save me. So I just got back into my car and cried till the sun came up. All of the families gathered around Manuel's house because they heard everything that went on but never even tried to save him last night. We followed the trail of blood and drag marks to the edge of the woods, and my stomach twisted at the sight. And I never was one to cry, but after seeing him like that, I didn't know how to express my emotions. He was hanging from the tree by his intestines that were tied around the branch above. He was unrecognizable due to how his skin had been peeled off. That's as much detail that I want to put into this, because tears are already landing on my keyboard. I never should have posted about this story, even to warn others who will encounter the voices. But everything done is done, and I sealed Manuel's fate. I should have been the one hanging from the tree, not him. He paid for what I've done, and I already have moved away from that hellhole I used to live in. That's why I haven't posted to Reddit these last 2 days, and after this, I will never post again, because I still fear that thing will find me, even if I'm 400 miles away from it. At least I found out what it was, because I needed to know. And you need to know that you should never mess around or be lured in by a skinwalker. I just fear the day that I will see Manuel at my front door, because I know it's not going to be him.